Good afternoon, Ma'am Sheila Estrada. Good afternoon, classmates. Today, we will be discussing about theories of motivation. Now, this is a very important concept, and let's understand what exactly it means. But before that, let me tell you the overview. This chapter and the next chapter are concerned with the people in organizations. This chapter provides a discussion of motivation in the context of public organizations. It is also a review of the most prominent theories of motivation.
Concept and definition. Motivation is derived from a Latin word, movere, which means to move or to energize or to activate. Motivation refers to the way in which urges, drives, desires, aspirations, or needs direct or explain the behavior of human beings.
Now, before moving on theories of motivation, let's classify the needs of motives. So, needs to classified in three different categories. One is primary needs, another one is secondary needs, and the third is general needs.
What are primary needs? They're also known as physiological, biological, and basic needs. These are animal drives which are essential for survival, which includes food, shelter, good health, education, etc.
Then, we also have the secondary needs. They are also known as lower needs or derived needs. They are not biological or basic in nature, and it can derive or taking care of power, achievement, affiliation, status, etc.
Hi guys, I'm Nicole Benito, the next reporter. There is another category of needs which may not be learned at the same time. It is not completely physiological in nature, so it could be competence, curiosity, and affection. So a human being tries to fulfill all these types of needs in order to motivate him or herself.
And now let's move on to the various theories of motivation. The first and foremost theory of motivation, which is very important, was given by Abraham Maslow. He was a psychologist who studied positive human qualities in the life of exemplary people. In 1954, Maslow created a hierarchy of human needs and expressed his theory in his book, Motivation and Personality.
Now Maslow, he gave a hierarchy of needs that is in paramedical structure in which he explained how needs can be classified and how we achieve different needs. So the basic level or at the lowermost level we have the psychological needs that includes breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homophobia, status, and excretion.
Good day everyone, I'm Jasmine Nicole C. Canino, the next reporter. These are basic needs that one requires for their survival. Once these needs are satisfied, he or she, an individual, moves toward the higher level need, which is known as safety need. Now in the safety need, a person tries to fulfill his safety needs, which includes, let's say, employment, getting money, or making a house for himself. So basically, safety of the family, health, and property, this is what they try to achieve in this particular level.
Now, once a person achieves these particular needs, he moves on to her another higher level, which is known as love and belongingness. This is also an important level where he tries to find out, let's say, or tries to discover friendship, family, and intimacy with individuals.
Once these needs are satisfied in a one person moves toward the esteem needs, that is, he looks forward for self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, respect by others. These
Now, many people finish their life at the esteem level, and they are not able to actually reach this particular Self-actualization level. Not many people are able to reach this highest level in the need hierarchy theory.
Now, what exactly is self-actualization? It is a person's motivation to reach his or her full potential. It includes terms like morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, nature, lack of prejudice, and acceptance of facts. All of these terms will help to motivate individuals when he or she reaches the self-actualization level.
Now, some points to remember for Maslow needs hierarchy theory are, first of all, needs have a certain priority. Individual cannot first reach the self-actualization level and then move on to physiological needs. So the point here is he has to move in the certain order. That is physiological needs to the safety needs, to the love and belonging needs, to the self-esteem needs, and then the self-actualization needs. So that is how it has a priority.
As the basic needs satisfied, an individual seeks to satisfy the higher needs. For example, once the physiological needs are satisfied, then an individual will move towards to the safety needs.
If the basic needs are not met, then efforts to meet higher needs are postponed. The explanation for this is, if you're not able to satisfy the basic needs, then you cannot reach the higher level.
Our needs levels are interdependent and overlapping because the Earth, it's not distinct levels that is, but they are interdependent. They're dependent on each other and they overlap to some extent.
One need does not disappear when the other needs appear. So that it doesn't mean if we have reached a safety level, then all of our psychological needs will disappear. We will need those needs, but at the same time, you're looking for higher needs.
Now, another theory, give of motivation, was given by Hesberg, that is Frederick Hesberg. So we came up with two different categories of factors. One is hygiene factors, another one is motivation factors.
Now, what is hygiene factors? What are these factors? These are some job conditions which dissatisfy employees when they are absent, but their presence does not motivate them. Hygiene factors.
Now, similarly, there are factors which are opposite to hygiene factors. That is known as motivational factors. These are some job conditions which builds strong motivation and job satisfaction when they are present, but their absence rarely proves dissatisfying. Motivational factors.
Now, let's take the examples of hygiene factors and motivational factors. So, hygiene factors, we include company policies, relationship with the boss, supervision, work condition, and salary. So, let's take the example of salary and relationship with the boss. If your salary is good, then you will be work harder. But if your salary is low, what do you expect? You will be dissatisfied.
But in case of motivators, let's say recognition, achievement, responsibility, advancement. If somebody recognizes your work, if they praise your work, you will be motivated. So if these factors are present, you will be motivated. But if somebody does not praise you, then this does not mean that you will not be motivated. No, it's okay. You can take that negativity as your motivation to do your best, to improve yourself. You just have to continue your work. These are known as motivational factors.
Another theory was given by MacGregor, and it's known as Theory X and Y. MacGregor has given certain assumptions which are involved in motivating employees. These assumptions are characterized in two opposite directions. Theory X, these assumptions about human nature are negative, and the Theory Y, these assumptions about human nature as positive.
So in Theory X, he assumed that the employee, they dislike work, they are lazy, they dislike responsibility, and they must be coerced to perform, or they must be pressurized and forced to perform the books.
In case of Theory Y, he took the category of people, or he assumed that employees, they like work, they are creative, they are seek responsibility, and they can exercise self-direction.
So how did he relate to the motivation? He said that Theory X managers whose employees, they dislike work and they are not interested in doing work. In order for them to motivate, he needs to have an autocratic leadership style. That is, he should use extensive supervision and control. They should be little delegation of work, and motivation can be given by their salary. So that is how Theory expenditures should deal with their employees.
In case of theory, why the employees, they like to work. They are motivated, they are creative. So in that case, they have to use democratic and participative leadership style. That is, they can be delegation of work. There should be two-way communication. He listens to the employees, also should empower the employees. That is how the strategy should be used in order to motivate theory. What kind of employees?
Overview. Like the last chapter, this chapter is also concerned with the people in organizations. This chapter describes concepts important to the analysis of motivation and work attitudes. It also discusses the values, motives, and incentives that are particularly important in public organizations.
Values. Values are always behaving or end state that are desirable to a person of group. Values can be conscious or unconscious.
Outcomes. Work values influence important individual and organizational outcomes, including performance and retention, and they're often considered to be important work outcomes in themselves.
A company's leaders' personal values affects the firm's the business strategy and all aspects of organizational behavior, including staffing, systems managers, subordinate relationship, communication, conflict management style, and negotiation approaches.
Ethics. Personal values also influence ethical choices. When there are no clear rules for dealing with specific ethical problems, we tend to respond to each situation to an individual basis depending on our values at the time.
Influence. Our personal value combined with the organizational influence like company culture to generate decisions that can be significantly different from those made based solely on your personal value. Strong organizational culture help guide us when making these ambiguous choices. However, if personal value conflict with organizational culture values, is difficult to maintain the ethical norms.
Values dimension. Values can be described as terminal or instrumental and unintrinsic. And now let's explore each of these distinctions.
One noted researcher identified two types of values, terminal and instrumental. First is terminal values. When we say terminal values, it reflects our long-term life goals, and many includes prosperity, happiness, a secure family, and a sense of accomplishment. Terminal values can change over time depending on our experience and our accomplishments.
What is instrumental values? When we say instrumental values are our preferred means of achieving of our terminal values of our preferred ways of behaving. Terminal values influence what we want to accomplish, while instrumental values influence how we get there. Honesty, ambition, and independence are examples of instrumental values that guide of our behavior in pursuit of our terminal goals. The stronger the instrumental value is, the more we act on it.
Extrinsic values, work values. Extrinsic work values are related to the outcomes of doing work. Employees who work to earn money or to have health benefits are satisfying extrinsic work values. Having high status in the organization, getting recognized for work quality, and having job security are also extrinsic work values.
Extrinsic work values. Extrinsic work values are related to the outcome of doing work. Employees who work to earn money or to have health benefits are satisfying extrinsic work values. Having high status in the organization, getting recognized for quality work, and having job security are always extrinsic work values.
Values impact organizational culture, performance, and outcomes.
Incentives. Other than knowing what to do, the ultimate purpose of incentives is to motivate. To motivate employees to work as hard as possible to reach certain goal by rewarding them when they do what's desired.
Reinforcement theory, goal setting, expectancy theory, and agency theory will help you understand how different incentive plans affect employees' behaviors.
Reinforcement theory. According to reinforcement theory, when people experience positive consequences after they do something, they are likely to repeat those actions. This of course includes employees that they are rewarded under a company incentive plans from what they do. In short, reinforcement theory suggests that individuals are likely to repeat certain behaviors when they are rewarded from them than they were not.
A second theory regarding why incentive may prove to be motivating is goal-setting theory. Goal-setting theory is when employees are committed to specific, challenging, but attainable goals. The goals are served as an anchor to focus their efforts on, as well as for the amount of effort needed. And by that, setting challenging goals rather than simple goals, employees are encouraged to push themselves to achieve their objectives. And when individuals have specific goals rather than vague goals, they have their clear sense of objectives they're trying to realize, are more likely to focus their efforts towards the goal than on rather than irrelevant or less relevant activities.
Expectancy theory. Another useful theory regarding the potentially motivating impact of incentives is expectancy theory. According to expectancy theory, employees make decisions regarding how to act at work based on which behaviors they believe will lead to the most valued work-related rewards and outcomes.
Expectancy refers to the degree to which employees believe that if they work toward a certain performance objective, they will be able to achieve.
Instrumentality. Instrumentality reflects whether employees believe that achieving an object will be rewarded. Employees will be less motivated to achieve the objective when there's not a direct or consistent link between achievement and being rewarded for it.
Agency theory. According to the agency theory, managers can motivate their employees to act in certain ways by aligning their interests with the interests of the firm, other stakeholder, typically the company owners.
When properly designed and implemented, incentive system reward employees and managers for acting in the best interest of a company owners.
Work-related attitudes. Especially related attitudes are job satisfactions, organizational commitment, and employee engagement.
Job satisfaction. Job satisfaction is one of the most commonly studied organizational outcomes in the field of organizational behavior. Our job satisfaction reflects our attitudes and feelings about our job. The factors that have the greatest influence on job satisfaction are the work itself, attitudes, values, and personality.
Are happy employees really more productive employees? The answer is yes. And the positive relationship between job satisfactions and job performance is even stronger for a complex professional jobs. Satisfied employees also benefit organizations because job satisfactions positively influence employees' attitudes and organizational citizenship behaviors.
Organizational commitment. Organizational commitment reflects the degree to which an employee identifies with the organization and its goals and wants to stay with the organization.
There are three ways we feel committed to an employer. First is affective commitment, which is a positive emotional attachment to the organization and strong identification with its values and goals. Second is normative commitment, which is a feeling of obligation to stay with an organization for moral or ethical reasons. And lastly, continuance commitment, staying with an organization because of perceived the high economic or social cost with living.
What is engaged employees? When you say engaged employees give their full effort to their jobs, often going beyond what is required because they are passionate about that firm and about doing their jobs well. While these engaged workers do not perform close to their potential capabilities, lacking the emotional and motivational connection to their employer or that drive discretionary effort.
Engagement is enhanced when employees have their resources they need to do a great job, get meaningful feedback on their performance, are able to use their talents, and are recognized for doing a good job, as well as having opportunities to learn and grow.
Employee is a heightened connection that an employee has their job and organization.
Overview. Leadership studies are evolving discipline, and the concept of leadership will continue to develop for the purposes of this course. We will focus on a single definition that delineates the essential elements of leadership.
Leadership. Leadership is an influence relationship among leaders and followers resulting in outcomes that reflect shared purposes. Leadership is nothing more or nothing less than influence.
Because leadership is about influence, it involves intention, personal responsibility, change, shared purpose, and followers.
Influence. Influence means the relationship among people is not passive. It is multidirectional and non-coercive. It is easy to think of leadership as something a leader does to a follower. Leadership is reciprocal. For example, in most organizations, supervisors influence subordinates, but subordinates also influence supervisor.
The next one is change. The people involved in the relationship want substantive changes. Leadership involves creating change and not maintaining the status quo.
Purpose. Moreover, changes towards an outcome to both the leaders and the followers want a desired future shared purpose that motivates them towards a more preferable outcome. An important aspect of leadership is influencing others to come together around a common vision. Thus, leadership involves the influence of people to bring about the change towards a desirable future.
Followers. Leadership is a people activity. Leadership occurs among people. It's not something done to people. Since leadership involves people, there must be followers.
Responsibility. Good leaders know how to follow. and they can set an example for others. The issue of intention or will means that people are actively involved in the pursuit of change. Each person takes personal responsibility to achieve the desired future.
Most of us are aware of famous leaders, but most leaders that change the world start small and may begin with personal frustration about events that prompt people to initiate change and inspire others to follow them.
Every day, leaders come in all shapes and sizes, and many true leaders are working behind the scenes.
Managerial roles. A role is a set of expectations for managers' behavior.
The roles of managers. Roles are divided into three conceptual categories. One is informational, where we manage by information. Two is interpersonal, where we manage by people. And three is decisional, where we manage through action.
Roles of activity. Each role represents activities that manager undertaking to ultimately accomplish the function of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, although it's not necessary to separate the components of the manager's job. To understand the different roles of manager, the real job of management is not practiced as a set of independent parts. All of the roles interact in the real world.
The next one is informational role. Informational role describes the activities used to maintain and develop an information network.
Interpersonal role. Interpersonal roles pertain to relationship with others and are related to the human skill described earlier.
What is decisional role? Decisional role pertains to those events about which the manager must take a choice and take action.
Organizational culture. Organizational culture is a system of shared values, norms, and assumptions that guides member attitudes and behavior. These assumptions are usually taken for granted by organizational members and are taught to a new members as they socialize into the group.
An organization culture is reflected in how it gets work done and how employees interact with each other. It's take a long time for a culture to evolve and a long time to change it with culture support business strategy. The film can be high performing.
Trust. Trust is the foundation of culture and is earned through repeated interaction over time.
Positive culture. When a positive culture is strong enough, employees' interactions become more efficient, relationship improves, and employees cooperate to achieve common goals.
High performing. When culture supports business strategy, the firm can become high performing. Common organizational culture themes includes ethics, innovation, being casual or formal, and collaboration, of course, as important as it is to create and maintain the right culture. Doing so is not necessarily easy.
Element of culture. Cultures are made of formal and informal practices, and they are artifacts, expounds, values, norms, and assumptions.
Artifacts. Artifacts are physical manifestation of the culture, including myths and stories told about the organization or its founder, awards, ceremonies and rituals, decoration, office space allocation, the dress code, and so on.
Exposed. Exposed values and norms are those that are explicitly stated by the organizations.
Enacted. Enacted values and norms are those that employees exhibit based on their observation of what actually goes on in the organization. If a company's top manager engaged in illegal or unethical behavior, these are enacted values and norms of the firm, no matter what its formally stated values or ethics are. If a company has the espoused values that XX is important, the difference between espoused values and enacted creates a gap that can negatively affect employees' attitude and company performances. Performance management, feedback, and compensation system will help align espoused values and enacted values and norms.
Assumptions. Assumptions are those organizational values that have become so taken for granted over time that they become the core of the company and culture. These basic assumptions are highly resistant to the change of and guide organizational behavior.
Organizational culture is the key to excellence. The function of leadership is the creation and management of culture.
A leader has to define the culture to support business strategy.
Consistently behave in ways that demonstrate the culture and explain the culture to the employee so that they can understand why it's critical and hold him or herself and others accountable for maintaining it.
And that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a lot. It's your time to share your knowledge about the topic. Create your own reaction paper for this topic. Good luck everyone. Mabuhay!